Welcome back to another edition of Our Voice 360, Our Perspectives, Our Ways. I'm one half of the duo here, Chad Bumgarner, and I have with me my man Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
Hey, Pete, with that, let's go ahead and get into it, man.
And as always, our podcast is brought to you by CDB Consulting. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading?
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if there's something you want to hear on the podcast, hear us discuss. That is our views, thoughts, opinions on any specific topic. Just let us know. Also, if you want to let us know how we're doing or what we could do to make it better, please do not hesitate. Contact us at our email address at ourvoice360 at gmail.com. That's ourvoice360 at gmail.com. All right, today is a heater. I must admit, there's some mess going on right now that we really have to address and make our communities aware of if you are not already. First off, we are going to talk about this man in Tennessee. He's the mayor of in Livingston, excuse me, in Livingston, Tennessee. He goes. His name is Curtis Hayes. He's the mayor there, and he just signed into law there. Confederate April is Confederate month. I get that right,
Yeah,
Pete?
Confederate Heritage Month
Confederate Heritage Month.
or Confederate History Month, either one you
Yeah,
want to,
yeah.
use.
Yeah. Um, wow.
Hmm.
We really got a lot to unpack there.
Hmm.
So we're gonna talk about this brother signing into law there, Confederate History Month, the month of April.
Hmm.
How that looks, what that looks like.
Hmm.
Um, and then we're gonna move on to another topic, which is very, very controversial, at least in my opinion. And that's the young boy that was accused of stealing some potato chips and how the video went viral. This took place in Syracuse, New York, not too long ago actually.
Hmm.
And the young man was pretty much just grabbed off the street by the cops. Uh, assumed assumed that he stole the chips. Has not been
Hmm.
proven.
Hmm.
Um, in the process of being uh, taken up by the cops, another young man shouted out,
Hmm.
"That's not the right one. That's not the right boy. Y'all got the wrong one." But they didn't want to hear it. But we'll get into that. We'll touch
Right.
up.
Right.
All right, Pete. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Like I said, we got a lot to unpack here, brother. We got a lot to unpack here. Let's go back to Black Tennessee mayor declares April Confederate History Month, and like I said in the beginning of the show, Mayor Curtis Hayes, a black recipient of the NAACP Diversity Award the previous year, signed a proclamation delegating April Confederate History Month in Livingston, Tennessee. During this announcement, Mayor Hayes was joined by several of the members of I'm reluctant. I really want to say the KKK.
That's not their title. Call them by their title.
Okay. The mayor was joined by six white members of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. All
Okay.
right. According to the Daily Mail, there's no party affiliation on record for Mayor Hayes.
Hmm.
While the Sons of Confederate Veterans condemns racism, they're commemorating the history of the Confederacy. It is clear that the Confederacy fought loud and proud in support of slavery, sought
Hmm.
to continue slavery.
Hmm.
Okay. But do not support any forms of racism. Pete,
Yeah. Hmm. Yes, sir.
um, like the young folks say, make it make sense. I mean, you have I don't even know how to come at this, man.
Yeah, I know how to come at this. all your skin folk ain't your kinfolk. That's what it is. That's what it basically boils down to.
Yeah.
And obviously, this gentleman, Curtis Hayes, who is the mayor of Livingston, Tennessee, obviously either he's ignorant to the fact, or he's not read enough, or he's just not on our team. I mean, it's just making this proclamation to me is something I don't understand. Being a black man doing this. Now, if somebody didn't look like us, in other states, it's happened. It's happened in Florida, Mississippi. I think Alabama has a month, and I think it's a couple more states in the United States who have a Confederate heritage or Confederate, history month.
Alabama,
devoted,
South Carolina, and Mississippi.
Okay, devoted to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So by this gentleman, Mayor Hayes, doing this, being a black man, is a slap in the face to the black community and the black people in this town. I'm sure this is probably a small town in Tennessee, somewhere in Tennessee, and you just slap the black population in the face in your town. Forget the state and the United States and the world, just in Livingston, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do things like this, when you haven't, done your due diligence about learning what the Confederacy stands for, and knowing that a whole war was brought about because of the Confederacy, over slavery. Don't get it twisted, people. The Civil War was fought over slavery, and
that is true.
Nothing else. And nothing else.
That's right.
Don't tell me about states' rights, because it was they wanted states' rights
wanted the right to have slaves.
So again,
right.
The Civil War was about slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And for this black man to do this, it just lets me know, like I said, either he's just ignorant, or he doesn't care about his people or himself, or he's placating to a group of people who don't care nothing about him. So one of those three is, is prevalent here. So
if not all. Yeah.
Yes. If not all. so
it can be a combination of several.
Yeah. It definitely can. So I would, if I was in Mr. Hayes's presence, I would just ask him why. Why would you do this for a group of people who fought for slavery, fought to secede from the United States of America, which is another thing I don't understand about people in the Confederacy, especially when
y'all were literally traitors.
Excuse me. You were traitors.
Literally traitors.
The Confederates were literally traitors
mm-hmm.
to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And what's even funnier to me is, when I'm driving somewhere or whatever, are the two flags that they put together in some communities and some yards that you see on, it'll be a United States flag and a Confederate flag on the same flagpole.
That's so contradictory. Yeah.
So that's oil and water, right?
Well, the well-read and educated folks know that. Let me just put that out there.
Exactly. So you have no reason putting a U.S. flag and a Confederate flag together in the same, because one fought against the other one.
Well, Pete, could it also be that maybe voting time is coming up and he's trying to keep a seat? Because let's remember now, or let's make sure the viewers are aware that Livingston, Tennessee, where he is in Overton County. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he started serving as the mayor in September of 2006. But the point I'm trying to get at is as far as, is he doing this because voting may be coming around? Because Livingston has a population of 4,100 people based on the census, the last census, or the latest one of 2022. The racial makeup of that town is 95.68% white, 3.5 or 3.6% black, and then 0.62 Asian. Now they're saying white and black population have increased since the year 2000, according to the city's website.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2000, Livingston's population was 88% white and 0.6% African American. So the whites have increased there, and so have the blacks as well. But overwhelmingly, it's white. And was this something done so he could stay in office and stay in their good graces? But still, like you said, that's just part of you kowtowing to these folks and really not taking a stand and be like, I can't stand for this. I'm slapping myself in the face doing this. And that's another thing. And it goes back to your excuses. Either he's not well read or he's just ignorant to the fact. But this is a direct, you slapping your own self in the face, and then you got the nerve to sit at the desk with the proclamation in front of you, and you got 6 of the sons of Confederate veterans standing behind you, proud as hell, and you sitting there looking crazy. And I'm like, how are you able to go home?
Right.
What neighborhood are you living in? Because I know you don't live where they live. I can't see that. But then again, doing this, that probably wouldn't surprise me now, come to think of it.
That's what I'm saying.
So if you pull this off.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, Chad. I mean, once you gave the population and how it's broken down, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever the case may be, from the census, that just further, solidifies that he's kowtowing and placating. And he basically wants to keep his job. Which, okay, if that's what you do, that's what you do. That's your business. You are the mayor, of course. But my thinking is, I guarantee you those people that you're placating to don't care nothing about you.
Pete, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, based on their site, condemns racism. But the organization honors the history of the Confederacy, which obviously we all know supports slavery.
As my grandma used to say, beg your pardon.
Come again?
Yeah, you can't have both.
They condemn racism, but I guarantee you, and I don't know this for a fact. Let me put that out there to the listeners and viewers. I can almost guarantee you that they don't have one person of color in their organization to date. Because this organization is comprised of male descendants of Confederate soldiers who view the Civil War as the Second American Revolution.
You lost. What are you
Name one war where you're the loser, but you putting statues all over the South and Southeast like you won. I can't think of one besides, the Revolutionary War. But this,
I mean, you can't have both. You can't say you're not racist and support the Confederacy. Racism and the Confederacy go hand in hand.
Exactly.
They are tied together. I don't get it, Chad.
It's like I'm angry on one side, and then it's so funny on the other side.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It's a ball of confusion emotions. One side, I'm just so pissed. This brother just set us back so many years. But on the other side, this is so funny because these Sons of Confederate are so ignorant. You know what? I'm starting to believe some of these people are ignorant. And then again, some of these people just choose to believe what they want to believe. Because because what they choose to believe aligns with how they feel. And they want to feel like what they're doing is right. So like we said off air, the truth does not need explanation. And a lie don't care who tell it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The truth does not need explanations, and they know that. That's why they do so much explaining. We're not. We condemn racism, but we support the Confederacy, and we support this and da da da. You're doing too much explaining because,
Yeah.
and also on top of that, it's too much conflict going on. So anybody with a decent mind and who's well read will look at you with like you got a third eye, like you're not even making. Do you hear what you're saying?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. That's that fuzzy math. That's that Bush math. It don't make sense. But they'll sit there with a straight face and say, "This is what we believe and this is what we think," and it's like, I don't know. I've heard several people throughout my lifetime say you cannot talk to or argue with the ignorant person because if you do, a third person might come up and try to figure out who's the fool.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's you can only explain so much and educate so much. It's like
exactly.
I can't teach it to you and understand it for you too.
Yeah, but those people they're so blinded and stuck in their ways. And I mean, we all know somebody as Black people. We all know somebody like that. We work with them. We went to school with them. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And so it's a situation where there's, like you said, there's no way you're going to talk them out of their belief system. So, you know, all right, then I'll just choose not to be around you, or I'll choose not to, you know, communicate with you, or whatever the case may be, because there's no way I'm going to make you look at something rationally that you dug yourself into. You've been long dug yourself into, and you know this is how you were brought up, and this, that, and the third. I mean, it's going to be hard pressed to turn somebody from, you know, their thought process and their beliefs.
Yeah, that usually happens when their child or grandchild interacts with a person of color. Like that movie back in the day, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Yeah, for real.
And it's one of two things. Either you disown your child or your grandchild, or you learn to adjust and love them for who they love. And, you know, you allow your mind and your heart to open up and understand and, you know, try to move forward. So, yeah, I'm eager to know how the Black and Asian population feels about what this mayor just did in their town. I can pretty much guess, Pete, but I would still like to know or to hear from them just to see how they feel or what they got to say, because that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
That would be very, very interesting to hear what they had to say about this whole situation. I'm utterly disgusted.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it makes no sense. I mean, especially like I said, it makes no sense because it's coming from a Black man. A Black man made this proclamation, and it's just like, bro, do you not know what that stands for? Do you not know what that flag stands for? Do you not know how that flag affects Black folk? And I'm not speaking about anybody else's culture. I'm speaking about the culture I live every day.
That's all we can speak about is what we live.
So exactly. So wow. I mean, it's just a slap in the face and just so disrespectful.
And I think I'm gonna keep an eye on this because I'm eager to see how or what the NAACP is going to do or how they're going to react.
Exactly. Wow.
Since he received this reward, because he got the diversity award, I think last year, 2021.
Yeah, 2021. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so now that this has popped off, I'm really eager to see how they're going to respond.
Right.
You know what I'm saying to this one. This is gonna be a doozy.
Exactly. You are exactly right, sir.
Woo. Well, all right. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Because I wanna have a good Sunday. Moving on. God, Jesus. As I said in the intro, there was a young boy in Syracuse, New York, I think about 8 years old, was accused of stealing chips. And the video that a bystander took while the cops encountered this young boy went viral.
Right.
And I'm glad it did, because I had a talk with somebody last night. I was at a get together, and we were talking about this. And I made reference to the fact that I'm so glad that somebody pulled out their phone and recorded this, because too many times our young black men get snatched up and you never see them again. They never make it to the precinct, or they never make it home.
Right.
They found in the woods somewhere off by the side of the road, you know, mutilated, dead.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they recorded that, potentially, I'll say that, because I don't know what was in the hearts of those cops, but recording that potentially could save that boy's life. Save that boy's life.
Oh, for sure.
But so yeah, Pete. The young man was accused of grabbing chips. He was riding his bike on the way home. He's chilling or whatever. The police ride up on him. An officer grabs him by his arms and you know, jacks him up. You know what I'm saying? The boy's like this. You know, cops got him by the arms, and you know, you got bystanders yelling, you know, why are you grabbing that little boy like he a grown man, like he a cold-blooded killer? And the cops are talking about, well, you know, I'm paraphrasing. You know, he stole some chips, or he did this or whatever. They was like, but you don't have to treat him like a killer. That's a baby. The bystander that was recording this kept saying, that's a baby, man. That's a baby. And my thing is, you see a kid, you know, grab some chips or steal or whatever. Okay, you wanna go holler at him. Like, come here, let me talk to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Grab him, pull him to the side, have a conversation with him.
Take him back to the store, make him apologize.
Yeah. $3 bag of chips.
Yeah.
This little boy ain't shooting nobody in the back of the head. He didn't cut nobody.
Like they do.
Now that's what we
exactly.
I mean, the little kid, allegedly, because now let's be clear. When the cops were grabbing this young man and taking him to the car, another little young boy rolled up, and he was like, that's not him. That's the wrong boy. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. But of course, the cops didn't want to listen. And the bystander was like, you know, it's just beyond, it's beyond me that they were actually treating this baby like a criminal, like a cold-blooded murderer. You know, it's like they see no difference in a young child, black child, or an adult black man.
All they see is black. All they see is black.
And black equals threat.
That's it. That's all they see is black, Chad. They don't care the age of if it's an 8-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, or a 50-year-old. All they see is black. And that means we can treat them as harshly as possible and get away with it, which these officers will probably get away with it. And I don't care what the uproar is when it comes to black people. It doesn't matter to the police. We've discussed this on countless occasions when it comes to police interactions and black people. They don't care about black people because, again, we are a threat. This was over a bag of chips.
$3 bag of chips. And the cops were saying that
allegedly,
yes,
that he stole.
And the cops talking about, well, these kids have been stealing. Hold on. Because the other young man just said this wasn't the right dude. You got the wrong dude. But you just said these kids.
But even if that were the case, you don't manhandle an 8-year-old child.
I agree.
I don't care what the situation is. That's a child. And you throw them in the back of the police car, and because you don't care about the psychological damage that you're doing to this black child, you don't care nothing about that. You just see a black child, and I can rough this black child up or this black body up. Rough this, because that's how they're trained.
But Pete, they didn't do anything wrong, because they were like, we didn't handcuff them. Oh, that makes it all better. That makes it all
Exactly.
better.
That's how the police are trained. Whether it be a white cop, black cop, Asian cop, whatever, Latino cop, they're trained to see black bodies as a threat, man, woman, and child. That's how they're trained. Because if you remember a few years ago in South Carolina, a white man walked into a church and killed 9 black people.
Pete, was he jacked up when the police got to the scene? Did they jack him up?
They handled him with kids' gloves and placed him and asked the young man, "Do you want something to eat on the way to the station?" After this man just murdered 9 black people in a church, which again solidifies
after they just sat in a circle and prayed with this boy.
Yeah. Which further lets you know how black people are treated by the police, because they didn't care about them black folk that he killed. They needed to get him to the precinct safe. That's what happens. They don't care about black folk. They don't care about our psychological well-being once we've had an encounter with them. It's hard pressed to see. I mean, and does it happen? Sure. But 9 times out of 10, there's really not a good, when black folk are involved with the police, I say 8 times out of 10, it's not a good situation. We gonna end up shot or locked up or roughed up or beat up or something to that effect when we have an encounter with the police.
Right.
And that's just what it is. And people don't understand that don't look like us. No matter how many times it's seen on TV, how we get roughed up and shot and things of that sort, they will never understand. Well, the first thing was, they should comply. Okay, Philando Castile complied.
Sure did.
They put him in the ground.
Yep.
We can name many black folk that complied. That's in the ground. Sandra Bland complied. She in the ground. I mean, we can name many black folk that complied
and still wind up in the ground. Yeah.
That's no longer living.
Now the mayor in Syracuse, Ben Walsh, said in a statement Tuesday that the officers knew the child from prior incidents. Okay, here's my thing here.
So,
number one, it appears to me that this was the wrong child you snatched up, because you had a allegedly eyewitness saying this was not the right kid. Again, if you're police in that area, why don't you know the people in that area? And if this was a child from prior interactions, why don't you know where this kid lives and his parents?
Exactly.
Why don't you go call the parents and have a talk? Be like, look, we've seen your kid. We've got him on tape several times stealing from the store. There are better ways to take care of this situation. Look, we don't want to have to take the child in because he's too young to have a record. We really want to work with you on this matter, but we have him on tape several times. If he gets caught again, then we will have to do A, B, and C. How hard is that?
That's because you're dealing with black bodies. So they don't respect black bodies. They don't respect black people. Again, they're trained not to. They're trained to always see us as a threat. And see, you already see the mayor of Syracuse already trying to defend them. Well, they've had prior, I don't care what prior interactions they've had with this black child. He's 8. That's it. You do not treat an 8-year-old child that way. I guarantee you, if that was a white child, they are not treating a white child that way.
Well,
period. End of discussion.
Let's not forget this. And this was a college swimmer, I believe, in some Ivy League school a couple years back, who raped a girl at a party. The judge said prison will be too much for him. He wouldn't be able to take that. So he allowed the boy to have probation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For a couple of months or whatever, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Now this man this young man just raped a young lady. So basically him and the judge just said she doesn't mean anything.
There you go. Because he was white.
Yes.
Just like I think it was earlier this month, they had a similar situation where it was a white guy who had raped multiple women, admitted to it. Yeah, I did it. Copped a plea and got probation. Raped multiple women. Not just one, multiple, and admitted to it.
But you're going to take a black child, 8 to 10 years old, riding his bike, and you're going to scoop him up. And you don't even know for 100% fact that he did what was said that he did. But you still going to wrangle him up like he just killed somebody.
Like he a grown man.
Like he a grown man. You took him and his brothers, put them in the backseat of your car, put their bikes in your trunk, and drove them home to their dad. And had a discussion with the dad. And dropped the kids off. Well, we took the kids home. We dropped them off. Okay, that's fine. But how did you treat them? Now this kid or these boys are going to have nightmares at night. They're probably going to be wet in the bed. They're probably going to be scared to go outside or ride their bike because they've been traumatized. Nobody, like you said, nobody thinks about the psychological effect of the interaction or the encounter that just happened. This boy was riding his bike, not a care in the world, eating his Doritos. And all of a sudden, he gets snatched up. And then there's a bunch of arguing going back and forth between bystanders and the police. And he's crying. He just went from 10, feeling real good, to a -5. Scared out of his mind. Nobody has calmed this boy down and said, look, this is what's going on. Look, I need you to calm down. Look, talk to me. What did you do? Nobody said that. You just yanked him up and threw him in the car.
There you go.
But then you want to turn around, and when we have these town halls and we have these elections, you want to talk about how, you need to work with the police or the police are your friend. It's hard to make that sale when you come into these neighborhoods looking to hurt or harm black or brown individuals. That's a hard sale to make. And it's like, if you're scared to work in these environments, get the hell out. You need to understand the environment that you're working in. Too many times police come into these black and brown communities on edge. Some of them have a chip on their shoulder.
Oh, for sure.
Like, who am I F up today?
Exactly.
Then the other ones are just scared, like, I just need to make it through my shift. Anybody say something, I'm popping them.
And Chad, the majority of those cats are what you said, are they have a chip on their shoulder. They already have that mentality of, if I do anything, nothing's going to happen to me. I'll get some desk duty.
Paid administration leave. That's exactly. A vacation.
Yeah, at most I'll get some desk duty, suspended with pay or whatever the case may be, and then I can come right back on the force. They know that.
That's or why they do that. I get fired and I can go over to another county.
There you go. And get another job. Yeah, and they'll welcome you with open arms. So again, there's no responsibility on their end. There's no accountability on their end when they do something wrong. So they go into these communities, especially these black communities, with the mentality of, I'm gonna mess somebody up today. I wish somebody would say something to me, or X, Y, and Z, or whatever the case may be. That's why they feel emboldened to jerk an 8-year-old child and not calm him down and say, hey, little fella, what's going on? What happened? X, Y, and Z. No, their first inclination is, I see a black body. Because a black body, the age don't matter when it's a black body to the police. It doesn't matter. That's an opportunity to rough up a black body. And that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to do that. And you're not going to tell me otherwise. You're not going to tell me otherwise. That's why you have so many of these cops going into, that's why you have so many people going into the police force. Because it's 6 months of training. You get a gun
and a badge,
and a badge, and you get to do whatever you want to with no accountability. With no accountability whatsoever. So again, I mean, I don't care what color the copy is. They have no respect for black bodies. I'm sorry, and I mean, I don't trust them at all. I don't trust the police at all on any level.
Okay, public enemy. Okay.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, it just infuriates me that these officers are allowed to get away with this with no accountability. And stop giving me there's also good cops. There ain't no good cops. Sorry. Because if there were, those good cops would stop bad cops. And this is what happened.
Well, when they do, they get fired.
There you go.
Yeah.
They get fired, and then they get threatened by their own people, by their own.
Because you have had something to come out in social media saying that they are bad cops, and they turn them in, or they report them to their higher ups or whatever. Then they wind up getting suspended or getting like crappy shifts or getting harassed from the inside, because that's supposed to be confidential when you go to your boss talking about what's going on. But if the boss is rolling with the rest of them, he gonna let the rest of them know, hey, y'all got a mole in there.
There you go.
And then, like you said, he or she, they wind up getting threatened and all that stuff, and then someone wind up quitting, the other ones wind up getting fired for something stupid. He was late too many times. Because when you do that, they start nitpicking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They start nitpicking. Any little infraction, they got you.
Yeah. So, I mean, it goes back to the sister, what was it, back last year when she turned in some dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Some fellow officers. She ends up getting fired because of it. Yep. And then the police officers in that precinct start threatening her life.
Yeah.
And she has to get protection because officers are threatening to kill her.
Her family of blue.
There you go. So there's no that tree is rotten from the root. And let us always remember how the police was created. And every time we talk about the police, I'm gonna say this: they were brought about because of slavery, slave patrols, capturing black bodies. That's how the police were created.
Returning them back to their quote-unquote owners.
Returning black bodies back to their owners in any way possible, dead or alive. That's the root of policing. And it's been like that for 400 plus years. That's how it's been. So in 2022, it's the same mentality.
That's true.
We're going to bring these black bodies, dead or alive,
to justice.
There you go.
Our justice. Yeah.
Yeah. The way we deem justice to be. So again, it's sad that in 2022 we're still, as black people, we still dealing with this, man.
Yeah.
We still dealing with this foolishness of policing. No black man, woman, and child is safe when it comes to police. We're not safe at all because they did to protect and serve was not made for us.
Hey, everybody, we apologize about that. We had some technical difficulties, and I apologize to my brother Pete, who was about to drop some serious knowledge on us about that slogan, to protect and serve. So, Pete, let's pick up where we left off. You were talking about when that slogan was created.
Okay, yeah. When that slogan of protecting and serving was created, it was not for us. It wasn't for black folk. They created that for basically white people. But to protect and serve them from us,
just like the Constitution. The Constitution was not created for black and brown people, because you have to remember, when it was created, they had slaves at the time they were writing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that whole, in order for this to really be a fair America, in order to be a true America for all, that thing's gonna have to be modified severely and or rewritten. But we know they're not going to touch that sacred document. They will go to war before they touch that document. So we as a people, from Martin to Malcolm and on back, what we're going to have to do and continue to do is make them make do on the words that they said.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a liberty and justice for all, we're going to hold you to that.
Right.
We're going to hold you to that. And everything else that you wrote in there, even though it wasn't written with us in mind,
mm-hmm.
we here now.
Right.
And you're going to own up to every word. Like Martin Luther King said, we came here to collect. We came here to cash this here check.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to make do on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, when it comes to black folk and when it comes to black people and policing, it's just, it's a no win for us. It's a no win situation for us. It's just not. And, you know, and it's just our encounters with police are totally different. They jerk up an 8-year-old child. You pull over a black man and claim that he's trying to grab your taser, and you shoot him in the back of his head while you have him pinned down. You shoot him in the back of his head, and nothing's done. Nothing happens. I mean,
just because a tag is not registered with the car. Yeah. This man deserved to die execution style.
Yeah. So I mean, again, a black body is a black body to the police, whether it's an 8-year-old or 80-year-old. There's no difference to them. It's a black body, so it doesn't matter age or, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know, we have the ability to rough you up and treat you the way we want to treat you with no accountability. There's no going to be no repercussions to us on how we treat you. I mean, because it has to be to the point where we have to actually see the police kill some. Well, not in all cases, because we just saw this past week of a black man getting shot in the back of the head execution style while being pinned on the ground. So we have a George Floyd where, you know, people, you know, rise up, and then we have a Breonna Taylor where she gets killed in her own home by reckless police. And
yes,
and I mean, we're not safe in college. We're not safe in our dorm rooms. We're not safe in our apartments. We're not safe on the street. We're not safe in our cars.
We're just not safe.
We're not safe in the bank.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler.
Can't even take money out of our own account.
We can't take money out of our own account.
We can't have money. I want 20 large. You sure you got 20 large?
Yeah. You got 20. Oh, this black man said he wants $20,000 out of his own account. Let me call the police. That's your first thought. Let me call the police, because I don't think this black man got $20,000 in his bank account. Let me call the police.
Let's not even think about the fact that you verified his information. He gave you his license, his bank card, all that information. None of that matters.
I'm still gonna call the police. I'm gonna call.
You see, again, 20,000.
See, even with black people, that's the go-to move. That's the default. We're gonna call the police because they know the police are going to manhandle, rough up black folk, black bodies. That's what they do. So that's why when it comes to white people, that's their default. I'm gonna call the police because they know what's gonna happen when they get there. The police going to take their side no matter what the situation is. And black bodies are going to be damaged. Again, I've talked about this story before about the nightclub incident several years ago, where the black bouncer, who clearly has security on the back of his jacket,
back of his shirt, the jacket,
has a white patron pinned down because they're unruly. The cops come in and immediately, don't ask questions, immediately shoot the black security guard and kill him. No questions, nothing. They just saw a big black man on a white man. And they automatically thought, okay, he's the threat. And they kill him. So again, we're not safe in any situation. Even when we're trying to do security, we're not safe.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hate it for the young 8-year-old. I pray for him. I pray for his mental. I pray for his psychological health, because that's traumatic.
Him and his brothers and their
And,
family, because they
and their
all
family.
encountered. Yeah.
Yeah. I just pray that they're safe and mentally they're in a good place right now. That's what I pray for.
I hope he gets the help that he needs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I know him and his brothers were traumatized through that situation.
Right.
I know they were.
Right.
All right, folks, we're going to move on to the Black Inventor for this week. And I bring to you the brother by the name of Thomas Elkins. Thomas Elkins designed a device that helped with the task of preserving perishable foods by way of refrigeration. At the time, the common way of accomplishing this was by placing items in a large container surrounding them with large blocks of ice. Unfortunately, the ice generally melted very quickly and the food soon perished. Elkins' device utilized metal cooling coils, which became very cold. I can't talk today. Very cold. I'm still pissed about that Confederate Day. That thing. Elkins' device utilized metal cooling coils, which became very cold and would cool down items which they surrounded. The coils were enclosed within a container, and perishable items were placed inside. The coils cooled the container to a temperature significantly lower than inside of a room, thereby keeping the perishable items cool and fresh for longer periods of time. Now, Elkins patented this refrigerator apparatus on November 4th of 1879, and has previously patented a chamber commode in 1872 and a dining, ironing table, and quilting frame combined in 1870.
Mm-hmm.
Brother's name is Thomas Elkins.
We are a great people, man. This world does not work or revolve without us. Without us, man, we are great people.
Indeed. I concur 100%. 100%.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on, we're going to talk about the book of the week. And this book is based on real life person and situation. The name of the book is called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Now, her name, again, was Henrietta Lacks, but scientists knew her as Hela, Hela. She was a poor black tobacco farmer whose cells, her body cells, were taken without her knowledge in 1951. Became one of the most important tools in medicine and vital for developing the polio vaccine, cloning, gene mapping, and more. Henrietta's cells have been bought and sold by the billions. Pete, I misspoke when we were talking offline. I said millions, but by the billions, yet she remains virtually unknown, and her family can't afford health insurance. This phenomenal New York Times bestseller tells a riveting story of the collision between ethics, race, and medicine, of scientific discovery and faith healing, and of a daughter consumed with questions about the mother she never knew. Wow. So if any of you seen this story, which I have, the documentary, I guess, if you will, it goes, and what happened is she had some kind of illness when she was in the hospital and they were drawing blood or whatever. But what the hospital didn't tell her was they have the right to her cells without her consent. She didn't know that. And then when they started looking at her cells and looking at different diseases and stuff, and they started making vaccines using her cells and found out that they could create cures based on her cells, then this information in the scientific world just blew up. So people all over wanted copies of her cells to, use genetically with other potential vaccines and things of that nature to cure, polio and do gene mapping, just like the thing was saying.
Right.
So her cells were healing for millions of people because it was able to create some cures. Wow. But at the same time, she never knew they took them for a long period of time. And like I said, it took the daughter asking a lot of questions, and they finally found out what happened. But the mother was never compensated. And I think in the documentary, they finally received some kind of financial or the family that is, receive some kind of recognition and financial acknowledgement, if you will. I think. But it's just the power of us as a people. This black woman.
That's it. I mean,
her genes created several cures and helped with the polio and all the stuff that they've been working on for years. And somebody like Miss Henrietta Lacks comes along and is basically healing the world.
Man.
Through her gene, through her cells.
I'm telling you. Okay. Keep messing with God's people. Trying to tell you.
Yes, indeed. So that's a must read, and I would admonish you guys, if you haven't read that, to read. It's The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, Lacks, and also you can probably find it online somewhere, maybe Prime or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's still out there. You can find it and watch it. Very, very good movie, if you will. Pete, anything else? We're gonna move into the Bible verse of the week.
As I say every week, every podcast, protect yourself at all times. Protect your family, your people at all times. Love on your people. Make sure they're safe, and make sure, like I said, that they know that you love them. And that's about it, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make it any plainer than that. And then
that's it.
It kind of ties into the verse of the day, the Bible verse of the day, coming from John, book of John, chapter 3, verse 17. And it reads, "For God did not send his son into the world to condemn it, but to save the world through him." So, like you said, love on your people, and those of us who believe and who know, we know that God is love. So to know God is to know love, and love is what we need to give to each and every one. And that's what the world needs more of, more love.
That's it.
More love. So, and with that, of course, I got to hit you with my favorite, last but not least, I should say, Brother Marcus Garvey. So, as he says, and I quote, "Never forget that intelligence runs the world and ignorance carries the burden. Therefore, remove yourself as far as possible from ignorance and seek as far as possible to be intelligent." End quote.
There it
Marcus
is.
Garvey. That's some wisdom for you, man. That's simple and plain and to the point.
Yep.
The truth needs no explanation.
There you go.
That's just straight truth.
There it is.
Ignorance rules the world, and intelligence rules the world, and ignorance carries the burden. So make yourself intelligent. Seek intelligence.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Yep.
Ain't nothing but truth. All right, folks. Well, that's it for us. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. And as always, remember, if you like our podcasts, please share them with other people in your sphere of influence, family, friends, coworkers, the like. Subscribe to the channel so you'll know when we are putting out new content. And again, like Pete always says, we're available on all platforms: iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all of them. We're out there. Our Voice 360 is the name. Just go find it. We're there. And take care. Be safe. Be blessed. We're out.
Peace.